So I like to dream. I like to combine ideas and come up with new ideas. I also enjoy reading about technology and dreaming about how to apply technology to turn some of my ideas into reality. Now, throughout my career, I've sat through far too many boring presentations. And in an attempt not to become guilty of giving such presentations myself, I thought I'd start reading books on how to create engaging presentations. Now, one of the great books I read was Resonate by Nancy Duarte. She explains how you can contrast to keep your audience engaged. So in storytelling, we can contrast between highs and lows. In visual storytelling, we can contrast between complex and simple. But the best book I've ever read on communication is a book called Draw to Win by Dan Rowe. Has anyone read this? So in Draw to Win, Dan explains how our brains interpret what we see, which in itself is fascinating to understand. So when we see something, our brains interpret it in 6 steps. The first 3 happen all at once, in parallel. So first of all, we determine what it is. So in this case, it's a bottle of alcohol-free beer. Second, we determine what the impact might be. So if I drink that, it will quench my thirst, it will relax me. Being alcohol-free, it will ensure I get home safely. Third, still in parallel, we determine where is it located. It's on the table. Having processed these 3 things, our brains go on to interpret 3 more steps, but this time in sequence, so one after the other. First, we determine movement. Is it moving, and how fast? Fifth, we determine cause and effect. What might happen if this falls off the table? And finally, sixth, we create a kind of formula to remember what we saw and why it might be important to us. So this is a bottle of alcohol-free beer. If I drink it, it will quench my thirst, it will relax me. It'll ensure I get home safely. But I must remember to keep it upright to avoid the risk of missing out on these pleasures. Dan goes on to explain how we can apply these 6 steps of how our brains interpret what we see to create an engaging, easy to understand and memorable presentation on any topic using just 6 visuals, 6 slides. Now, none other than Mark Benioff, the co-founder and CEO of Salesforce, one of the world's largest software companies, uses this technique and works as follows. Slide 1 is a visual of what it is we're presenting. It may also be a visual of who it is that will be impacted by what we're presenting. Slide 2 is how much. What will the impact or benefit be? And typically this might be 1 or 2 charts, maybe showing the situation before and the situation after. Slide 3 would be where. Where does it fit with what our audience already has or what our audience already understands? Slide 4 has to do with movement. So it's like a timeline or a sequence of events that someone needs to take to achieve the desired outcome. Slide 5 is the cause and effect. So what would the inputs be that what I'm presenting has with what you already have to create new outputs? And slide 6 would be a formula to remember the key thing by. Something on the lines of, well, you're already doing A and B, now to combine the output with C, you would achieve D. So I started using this draw-to-win approach to create various presentations, to promote products at user conferences, and also create some YouTube videos. And besides really enjoying creating presentations in this format, I also got some positive feedback. But I didn't have my lightning moment, or perhaps my best idea ever, until a couple of months later. I was busy creating a draw-to-win style presentation for our new chatbot solution. So I was asking myself questions like, who's this for? What might the impact be? And then all of a sudden, I kind of had this eureka moment. I thought, what if a chatbot could be asking me these questions? And then based on my answers, apply machine learning to those answers, would automatically generate compelling visuals that present my story. Now, generative adversarial networks, or GAN for short, that's a machine learning technique that can combine images and even videos to create new images and videos of equal quality to their inputs. Generative adversarial networks are a technique that's been used to create many of the fake Obama and Trump videos that many of you might have seen online. Now imagine a world with no more boring bullet point slides. Imagine a world in which even the most complex subjects could be explained in an easy to understand, engaging, visually pleasing way using just 6 visuals that are auto-generated for us simply by answering a few questions about our topic. Now, who knows, maybe in the future we might even be able to apply similar techniques to auto-generate draft storylines to accompany these visuals. Maybe even apply it to train an online avatar that in turn could train us to use the optimal body language to deliver our message in the most effective way. Now, on this handout, I've got links to a couple of videos put online where I use the draw-to-win technique to present a couple of different software solutions. Now, you may have sensed that I'm quite passionate about this idea, and therefore I'd like to thank you for having had this opportunity to present it to you. Thank you.